Transformations, how one singer dropped 200 pounds. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For 1000 pounds sister latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. With goals of appearing on a fitness magazine cover. In the ever-evolving landscape of celebrity culture, few stories resonate as deeply as those of radical personal transformation. While fame often comes with the trappings of luxury, excess, and relentless public scrutiny, it can also serve as a catalyst for profound change, especially when health, self-worth, and personal goals collide. Among the most inspiring of these narratives is the journey of singer James J.D. Holloway, who over the course of 3 years shed an astonishing 200 pounds not for the cameras, not for a role, but for himself. His ultimate dream? To grace the cover of a major fitness magazine, a symbol of triumph over years of struggle, shame, and self-doubt. J.D. Holloway first entered the public eye in the early 2000s as the lead vocalist of the R&B group Velvet Echo. Known for his velvety baritone and emotionally charged ballads, he quickly became a fixture on radio playlists and late-night talk shows. But behind the spotlight, J.D. battled a private war, one that revolved around food, body image, and emotional coping mechanisms. By the time Velvet Echo disbanded in 2010, J.D. weighed nearly 420 pounds. His performances became increasingly rare, his interviews shorter, and his public appearances dwindled. The man once celebrated for his voice was slowly disappearing not from the music scene, but from his own life. For years, J.D. cycled through fad diets, weight loss pills, and short-lived gym memberships. Each attempt ended in frustration, often followed by deeper emotional eating and a growing sense of hopelessness. "I'd look in the mirror and not recognize the person staring back," he later recalled in an interview. "I felt like I was trapped in a body that didn't belong to me. My voice was still there, but I couldn't sing with the same passion because I didn't believe I deserved to be heard." The turning point came not with a dramatic event, but with a quiet moment of clarity. In 2018, while watching his niece's high school graduation, J.D. realized he might not live to see her college ceremony or her wedding or the birth of her children. At 42, he was suffering from sleep apnea, prediabetes, chronic joint pain, and dangerously high blood pressure. His doctor had warned him that without significant lifestyle changes, his life expectancy was severely compromised. That night, J.D. sat alone in his Los Angeles apartment and made a promise not to the world, but to himself. "I will get healthy. I will reclaim my life." What followed was not an overnight miracle, but a meticulously planned, deeply personal transformation rooted in sustainability, mental health, and discipline. J.D. began by assembling a support team, a registered dietitian, a certified personal trainer with experience in post-bariatric fitness, though J.D. never underwent surgery, and a therapist specializing in emotional eating and body dysmorphia. He knew that to succeed, he needed to address not just the physical symptoms of his weight gain, but the psychological roots. His dietitian helped him transition away from processed foods, sugary drinks, and late-night binges. Instead of restrictive calorie counting, they focused on nutrient density, portion awareness, and mindful eating. J.D. learned to cook something he'd never done before and found joy in preparing colorful, balanced meals. "Food stopped being my enemy and started being my fuel," he said. "I stopped seeing meals as rewards or punishments and started seeing them as acts of self-care." Meanwhile, his trainer introduced him to low-impact exercises that respected his current physical limitations. He began with water aerobics and short walks, gradually building stamina. As the pounds came off, Slowly at first, then more steadily, JD incorporated strength training, yoga, and eventually running. "The first time I jogged a full mile without stopping, I cried," he admitted. "Not because it was easy, but because I proved to myself that I was capable of more than I ever believed." Perhaps the most transformative element of his journey was therapy. For the first time, JD unpacked the trauma, anxiety, and childhood experiences that had led him to use food as a shield. He discovered that his weight had, in many ways, become a protective barrier. A way to avoid intimacy, scrutiny, and vulnerability. Losing weight meant becoming visible again, he explained. And being visible meant being seen, judged, maybe even hurt. That was terrifying. But with each therapy session, each pound lost, each morning he chose water over soda and movement over stagnation, JD rebuilt his sense of self. He started writing songs again, not about heartbreak or fame, but about resilience, healing, and the quiet courage it takes to change. These songs would later form the backbone of his 2021 solo album, Phoenix, which critics hailed as raw, honest, and a masterclass in vulnerability. By 2021, JD had lost 200 pounds. He stood at 6'1" and weighed 220 pounds, a weight he'd maintained for over a year through consistent habits and ongoing support. His health markers had normalized, his sleep apnea vanished, his energy returned. But more importantly, his spirit had reignited. He performed again not in stadiums, but in intimate venues where he could connect with audiences on a human level. Fans who remembered him from Velvet Echo were stunned, not just by his physical change, but by the light in his eyes. It was around this time that JD set a new goal: to appear on the cover of Iron Will Fitness, one of the most respected fitness magazines in the industry. Known for featuring athletes, trainers, and everyday people who've achieved extraordinary transformations, Iron Will had never featured a musician on its cover. JD saw this as the ultimate symbol of how far he'd come, not just as a singer, but as a whole person. He reached out to the magazine's editorial team with a heartfelt letter and a portfolio of before and after photos, along with testimonials from his medical team and a short documentary his friend had filmed chronicling his journey. The editors were moved not just by the scale of his weight loss, but by the authenticity of his story. In early 2022, they offered him the cover of their transformation issue. The photo shoot was emotional. Standing in front of the camera in a simple tank top and sweatpants, no filters, no retouching beyond standard color correction, JD felt exposed but empowered. "This body has carried me through hell and back," he told the photographer. "It deserves to be seen." When the issue hit newsstands in March 2022, it sold out within days. Readers were captivated by JD's honesty, how he spoke about the shame he once felt, the setbacks he endured, and the daily choices that kept him on track. In the feature article, he emphasized that his journey wasn't about aesthetics, but about longevity, presence, and reclaiming agency over his life. "I didn't do this to look like a model," he wrote. "I did this so I could play with my future grandchildren, so I could hike a mountain, so I could wake up every morning without pain. The cover, that's just a bonus." JD's transformation sparked a broader conversation about weight, health, and celebrity. Unlike many Hollywood makeovers that rely on personal chefs, trainers, and cosmetic procedures, JD's journey was accessible. He didn't have a team of 20 people managing his life. He had discipline, support, and a clear why. His story resonated with millions who saw themselves in his struggle, not because they were famous, but because they were human. In the years since, JD has become an advocate for holistic health. He launched the Second Verse Foundation, which provides grants for therapy and nutrition counseling to individuals struggling with obesity and emotional eating. He also hosts a podcast, *The Rewind*, where he interviews people from all walks of life about their personal transformations, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Importantly, JD refuses to frame his journey as a before and after binary. The before me wasn't broken, he insists. He was surviving. And the after me isn't perfect. He's just healthier, happier, and more present. Both versions deserve compassion. His appearance on the Iron Will Fitness cover remains a milestone, not because it validated his worth, but because it symbolized